This is going from online search to office visits, 5 ways to turn clicks into new patients. My name is Rebecca Shade. I am so excited to be with you guys today. I have worked with pediatrics and family practices for almost 18 years now, so it is definitely my passion. I want to make sure that your practices and clinics are effectively reaching your communities through good information. We all know we can find some pretty bad information online, but we want good, solid, relevant medical information going out in a timely manner to your families. Afterwards, you'll see I do have a way to reach me, a couple of ways. You can reach out via email. You can also click on a link to book an appointment if you have further questions or would like a demo of any services that we're going to chat about today. So as we walk through today, I'm going to ask you if questions come up. I know you're all on mute, but take the opportunity in your GoToWebinar panel, I would say on your screen, there's a questions box. Drop those questions in there at the end of our session. This should be about a 30-minute webinar. I'll go through those questions. To the best of my ability, I will answer them. If I don't have time or if I don't have the answer, I will research it for you and email you back with the best answer that I can bring you today. So what we're about to dive into. The goal of this webinar is really to help your practice to attract more patients. We want to leverage your online presence effectively. And so we'll go through some key elements today to hopefully make you think a little more strategically about how you're reaching your current population, or if you haven't thought about it in a while, maybe bring some new ideas. Hopefully you can walk away with 1 or 2 good key elements that you can make a change in your practice today. I do want to point out, sometimes it can feel overwhelming as we're walking through content that there is so much that you want to do. You don't have to do it all. Pick just 1 or 2 that you can start as steps to move forward, or again, book with someone on our team. We'll ask at the very end in the survey if you want someone to reach out, and we're happy to walk you through some additional solutions and see how we can partner effectively with you and your team. So some specific things that we're going to look at is the custom website and some ingredients that you're going to need as a pediatric practice or family practice today that really is going to reflect your brand when people land on your site. There should be an instant feeling of who you are as a practice and how you're reaching your community. We are going to peek at SEO as well. To be found. So SEO is search engine optimization. The easiest definition that I use is online visibility. How can you be found? How can you be seen throughout your website and your presence online? So SEO is not just what happens on your website, it's other parts of how your presence is made known online, whether that's your social channels, Google Business Profile, Apple Business Connect, Yelp reviews, many places that you can be found. And we want to look at that and make sure that you are being represented correctly. We'll also look at some key elements of a website, what should be on your website, and if you don't have it, some things that you might want to think about adding to your site to make it easier for your parents and patients to find good, relevant content. And then we'll look at data-driven analytics and decisions. So you do want to try things out, but then you want to watch your Google Analytics. How have things actually worked out? Are they moving you in the direction you want to go? And if not, what changes can be made to increase that growth? And lastly, this is kind of throughout, but PEDS is seasonal. There are things that happen throughout the year that are going to happen every year. So I was on a practice recently this summer, and I saw they had a big alert about flu clinics, but it was in July. And so I know that was an old alert that they had left up. We hadn't hit flu season yet. A more effective alert or something, a call to action on their homepage probably would have been back to school sports physicals, if you offer a concussion clinic, things like that, summer safety, but to be seasonal. And so we'll hit a bit on that. I want to start by launching a really quick poll here for you. This does help me. So as I am walking through this webinar today, I want to know where your practice is at. If you could just take a short moment to fill this in. So it is your website an effective marketing and educational tool for your practice? Yes, not sure, or no. So I'll wait just a moment for you guys to put an answer in there, and that'll help me as I move forward. Thank you for jumping in. I see people filling it out as we speak. I'll give you just a few more seconds because we do have a lot of content to walk through. Okay, I'm going to share the results here for a moment. So thank you for filling this out. 56% said yes, you do believe your website's an effective tool. That is fantastic. 22% weren't sure and 22% no. So not quite half and half, but definitely some room to grow there. A goal of a pediatric website, family website, any website is to be effective with marketing, to get your name out there, to make sure people know who you are, what you represent. As a medical practice, part of your website should always be educational. How can you add value for your parents and families that are coming back to your site again and again? And that value is found in the medical content, well child visits, and other content we will look at today. So as we jump in, we'll look at some key ingredients for our website. As I look at our websites here, what we do personally, so we love pediatrics. We have built more pediatric specific websites than any company in the US. So I would say that's our passion, our wheelhouse. Where we love to live and breathe is helping practices reach their communities. Because of this, the data we have behind us is pretty significant and strong that we can go off of, knowing how are parents truly searching, what are they looking for, what is most used or clicked on our different sites, what has been key elements for your patients and parents to dig into. So this is how we go about building our custom websites. You will go through a process called discovery and design. That is where we're looking at your unique branding, mobile first. So whether we built your site or someone else, I encourage you, please look at your website on your phone. That is so key because over 70% of your end users, again, parents and patients, will reach your website on a mobile phone. And because so many of them are going to see it, you want to make sure if something is not displaying correctly, if it's not quick and easy to click and find, that you bring that to the attention of your website company, whether that's us or someone else, and change that. One-click solutions is what we're looking for. We want to make it super easy. So we do walk through that design. Just to mention some must-haves. When you are looking at website design, it is absolutely imperative. It has to be mobile friendly. If it is not, Google will never rate you as a good answer. So that's number one, build for mobile first and make sure anything you add to the site, you always check it on a phone version. Also, fast load times. When you're pulling up pages, we do look at that. What you're loading on your homepage, load time for homepage is key. It needs to load quickly. So we can do what's called a lazy load. So we'll load the top of the page, and if you have videos or feeds that we have on your website for Facebook or Instagram or something else, those are going to lazy load a little bit slower in the back end, but it's not counted against you. So those fast load times are key to look at. We also want to make sure that there's always a good CTA, multiple CTAs on your website, which are calls to action. It might be book an appointment, contact us. I'll show you some examples here in just a moment of what good CTAs are. And then you want to make sure things parents aren't going to see, but that there's SEO, optimized stuff on the back end of your site. So part of that is writing SEO landing pages that are going to draw people in through keyword searches. What are you wanting to highlight for your practice? If you're not sure, you're going to start with location. Location is really key when Google is recommending for a local search. They're going to look geolocation. How close is that person's IP address to where your practice is at? You might want to highlight different providers within the practice, especially new providers that are accepting new patients. Your newborn care or sick visits, well child visits, your immunizations. If you have specific services that are unique to your practice, ear piercing, concussion clinic, which I'm seeing happen more and more. If you offer mental health providers or social workers within your practice, we do want to highlight those things. Often I do see, lactation and some key elements there, but think about what you're offering and what you can highlight with some SEO landing pages. Let's take a quick look. And I am going to just pull up a very specific site. This is Forest Hills Peds. They've done a great job with some of these elements we just talked about. So here with the custom design, we have their logo. We have made sure that the logo, branding, colors, Google font is brought in throughout the site. So there is consistency in branding throughout the site. We mentioned with that logo, if I'm looking them up online, this might be tiny for you guys, but part of their logo, one of the little kiddos, is an icon that is going to show up, so their branding continues through Google as well. Here, when I'm going through and looking at navigation, I want simple, clean, clear navigation. Where am I sending people? It doesn't want to look like a smorgasbord of trying to figure out what they want. We want clarity here. You can easily add alerts. Tell your families what's important, what's in stock, what you're doing, so they have an alert here. You can always close those. In addition, we have some calls to action down here of very popular links that people go to when they're on their site. When I mentioned a CTA or call to action, you can see those here at the very top of the site. They have highlighted what they feel is important, the portal, paying a bill, and texting when someone arrives for check-in. I've seen a lot of different things up here. These are pretty common. How to make an appointment. Appointment requests are really good. Contact us. But you can do those calls to action that are going to stay in the header of your website. If you are going to highlight social media, check your social media channels first. And if you are not posting consistently, you might not want to highlight them until you really are posting more consistently. Or pick one channel. So you might say, hey, we're really going to concentrate on Facebook. The next logical one is Instagram, because you can double post. They're both owned by Meta. But you want to be posting, if you're not posting, at least, when I say regular, like some people haven't posted since April or something of this year. This is months. So you have to post at least a couple times a month. So have a goal. If you're not posting at least monthly, say for the next 2 months, we'll post twice a month. And then move it to once a week, and then twice a week. And to get those views, there are certain algorithms that'll help. We're happy to deep dive with you and go through it. But the more you post, the more, and relevant content, the more you'll show up on someone's wall. We want people not just to have views, but to have engagement. So anyway, think about that as you're placing those social icons. Often I click on the icons and I'll see, oh my gosh, they haven't posted in a year. That's not something you want to highlight there. We will go through, we'll take your logo, make sure the Google font matches. Again, that is just consistency in branding when we go through the discovery of your site, the design of the site, to make sure there is, again, that consistency throughout. Sorry, let me scooch to another page here. When we're looking through your site, I'm going to go back. We do want to look at search engine optimization, which is key. So we're going to do one more quick poll here. I'm going to pull it up for you. Again, highly appreciate if you don't mind just going in here for me and letting me know if you have SEO, search engine optimization, for your current website. Yes, no, or you're not sure. We'll give you a moment to fill that in. Okay, thank you very much. We'll share the results here. So thank you for putting those in. I have 60% of you, just over half, that are using SEO. Fantastic. 27% are not sure, and 13% are not doing it. I'm highly, highly recommending search engine optimization because so much is done on the back end of a website to draw people in again and again and see what you're currently working on, what you're doing, and what is working. Let's look at some of those elements. One second. One of those key elements that can help with search engine optimization is going to be the content that's on your site. So if someone is doing a keyword search for Google, and again, we always talk back with Google, they are the main search engine. They did 96% of the searches on mobile phones, 90% of the searches on desktops last year. And so even though there's a ton of search engines, Yahoo, Safari, etc., we really go back again and again. What is Google looking for? What is important to them? So in looking here, medical content is highly important. So as we're going through the build out of websites, we want to make sure medical is on your site. It targets the audience exactly where they're at. Parents have a ton of questions. It can be difficult, but if they're looking for questions in the middle of the night, really nice if they can find it on your website instead of as a provider getting that call at 3 a.m. I know a lot of you have had those calls. How much Tylenol do I give my 10-year-old? And you're thinking, it's on my website. But if it's not on your website, that might be why they're calling. So solid medical content will definitely cut down on the number of phone calls you can get over common questions they can find, and now your site is really relevant to them. It's also showing Google that again and again you can answer the questions that your parents have because you have solid content. So we provide over 1,000 pages. Our medical content is brought in from, I think, very reputable sources. So we use the American Academy of Pediatrics. A lot of their content's going to come right in. You're not linking out to the AAP actually lives on your site. Another one is going to be Dr. Bart Schmidt. His Is Your Child Sick and Parent Care Instructions will be on the site. We also pull in content from NIH, CDC, various sources, so you can know it's solid. But to say that, you can also add your own. You might have a lactation consultant and you want them to write articles. We can put that right in a section for breastfeeding. In the same token, if you do not agree with an article, you just hide it. The AAP is particular. You cannot edit their articles, but you can hide them or remove them if you don't like what is being stated there. So just showing you how important content is, I will quickly just take you through some keys here. Dr. Bart Schmidt's content will be found in a drop-down as well as in the health library for the symptom checker here. If any of his content is clicked on, it will pull up in an additional page. It's always going to give an example of another article that the parent may be looking for. I love the example of asthma. The parent may not have thought to put in wheezing. So here they're saying, here, this might be a better article for what you're looking for. But the content from Dr. Bart Schmidt will always be broken into 3 categories. What is emergent? What can I do with my doctor's office? And what can I do at home for self-care in the meantime? Additional content will always be listed. And if this is updated, it will be updated on your site. But if someone is searching in your area for asthma attack in a child or wheezing in their child, you've now given them a very specific page with keywords that can come up in that search and be helpful. So that's why this is really important. We also are really cognizant of the URLs. So the placement of the URL, the further it gets away from your domain, here Forest Hills, pediatrics.com / the next thing listed is asthma attack. So it's telling Google this is a really important page. So we did dive deep to make sure URLs are also correct to help you to be findable. Another section for your parents and Google for this search, so is key, is medicine dosages. This is clicked on all the time. So we have a bunch of medicine dosages. I have brought up just one. What I love about this as a parent myself is that, again, it's mobile friendly. So here I have a table. It is editable here. They've added the word Tylenol. You can leave teaspoon, take it out. That is completely editable by you. I'm going to right click and go to inspect to see what this would look like in mobile. So I love this. This is what I'm talking about being mobile responsive. Since most people will see you on a phone, you really don't want to see a table here and have to scroll through and try to figure out the table. It now is going to display according to the device that I'm accessing. So we thought through those things, and I know that is a big hit for our parents. Also along a very looked at viewed page is the immunizations page, again, editable by your practice. So here you'll have different vaccines listed. You can put them in any order. I like showing this as an example because they've added specifics. So they do some combo vaccines, Vaxillis, Pentasil, etc. You can put those in, change stuff around to whatever works for your practice. And then the viz sheets are here as well in the COVID EUA. As I said, most stuff is going to stay on your website. That is key. In this case, on purpose, we link out to the CDC, so the viz sheets are always up to date on your website. This is going to help your parents. I'm sure you see your trash can full of the vaccine information sheets. Now, if your providers instead just pull up the website during the visit, point it out to parents, this is key information for well visits, key information for immunizations. They have it at their fingertips, which is fantastic. There's also additional articles from AAP, but again, whenever possible, these will open on your website to draw Google and attention to the page that we're offering relevant information right here. So looking at search engine optimization, there are two different main types of targeted audiences we're trying to pull into your website. I'm going to come back to this page in just a second and walk through that. But let's look at three different types of SEO that we do offer. This is highlighted on our website. I'll show you that page if you want to deep dive and look at all the things. It's a really long list. I've just pulled out 3 per category to point out to you. And again, this is online visibility. How can I get more clicks? Because I want people to come back to my site and see that it's relevant what I'm doing. So here, we are going to look at on-site, local, and ultimate. Again, you'll have the link so you can go more in depth. But the first one is foundation. We just want to set a foundation for Google, a sitemap, keywords to be found. Each of these will build. My favorite thing in local is we start offering Review Builder. If you weren't here for my webinar on how to increase and boost your Google star rating, we talked 30 minutes just on this one item. So go on in and listen to that. You do not have to build a website through us to get that service. We offer it separate as well. It's one of the key services that we offer all practices. Any medical can use that service to boost their Google star rating. You'll also be found on online directories. This is really important to make sure that your NAP, N-A-P, which is name, address, and phone number, is consistent across all directories or citations. At this level, we're putting you in some key directories to be found, and we start writing content. We'll do an SEO landing page. Ultimate, by far my favorite, because you're added to healthcare directories. We're really going to look at your social media strategy, optimize Facebook, but we're writing 2 key landing pages per quarter. Google's looking for that. As someone's doing a keyword search, was a specific page written to draw them in so you can get that new patient? You want to capture them. To capture them, you do need to draw them to your website so they can see your call to action, what's the next step to become a part of your practice. And there is power, a lot of power behind that. I know we're running a little short on time. I will just show you. Here on our site, this list will be given to you. We do list out these packages in detail here. So looking at what's important and traffic that's going to end up on your site. Really important traffic is that organic search traffic. So you can see here with my first icon, the picture, that this organic search shows that it is really high, about 64%. We want to see it 60% or higher. If you're above 50, you're doing good, but we want to see it continually build more and more, because if someone's getting there through organic search, it's because Google said you were a good answer. And we really want to make sure that Google continually says you're a good answer, and that they'll draw that traffic. So when you're doing the keyword pediatrician near me, that one's used a lot, or pediatrician in Denver, that could be a bigger area. If you live in Denver, it might be pediatrician in Lakewood, a suburb. But when they're doing that keyword search, are you coming up in that local search? If someone clicks you, lands on your site, you are now, or that person is now part of that organic search list. They are a new organic user. Once they land on your site, you've got to capture them. So those are clicks to capture. What are you highlighting in your top navigation, your top buttons, to tell them this is how you become a patient in my practice if you're not currently. And I'll show you a quick page on that in a second. For direct traffic, that should be your next biggest section on your when you're looking at Google Analytics and really looking at that data. What is driving people to your site? So direct search, they have found you relevant in the past. All of us have saved bookmarked sites. So it might be your bank or favorite places to shop or your pediatric office. And so if they're bookmarked, you just click it. It's going to lead you to the page you want to see. This also counts if someone begins to type in your URL. So maybe they type in 1 or 2 letters. Google fills in the rest of the URL because Google's smart. They're like, this has been a good answer in the past. They take you there. That is a direct search. To have a good direct search, you do want to have over 25% of your people getting to your site because they come again and again. They're like, oh, there's good info for practice news, or they always have good alerts. Maybe I want to know what's happening at my next well-child visit. That information is contained and really is affecting your direct search there. So let me show you some key. I'm going to skip the next one real quick and go into some key things that help with that direct search, drawing those people. You want to have them come back again and again. The well visit page is going to be key. They need this information. They want to know what's going to happen at each visit, especially your new parents. So we do provide some pre-written content, completely editable by you. And this is listed as a 3 to 5 day visit. You might do a 2 to 7 day visit. Change the title, change the content. But this all pulls into the medical content we provide for your website. We will link to the vaccines. We'll link to the additional AAP content and the Bright Futures. But again, you can change any of this. It goes through college, so whatever age you want to end it at. But key here, we've just provided a lot of information to draw people. Or if it is a new patient searching, you've just provided some really key content for Google to look at to pull you up as a good answer if someone is looking for a newborn visit. How often do they go for well visits? This can pull up and show them great information. So something here, also pulling those parents in that might be visiting your site for the first time. If you are looking to bring in new patients, then highlight that. Have a new patient section. We want to make sure we've been very clear. Yes, we're accepting patients, and this is the way that you go about it. This page specifically I clicked on is newborns. Maybe they're adopting or they're having a baby, but what is the next step to be a part of your practice? So here, as I walk through, you can see you can do different links or calls to action throughout, and they're wondering, okay, if who is in your practice accepting patients, we can link that directly. These providers are accepting patients. That's a great way to do it. Or what is the next step? You know, how do they notify you? How do they get acquainted? So we have some pre-written content for a lot of these new patient pages, and then you edit it. You make it your own, but we give you a place to start that we know works for Google and drawing those patients in. Also, for both organic and direct search, this is really important. What content are you posting? Are you updating it? We make it really easy to update what's going on in your community. We have pre-written 16 articles on common childhood illnesses. All you have to do is click yes or no if you want it to show. So even though we have 16, we recommend 3 to 5. They have just a few showing here, which is key. You can edit any of these as well. You can add your own, but we've tried to make it easy. So in less than a minute, you're updating content on your site, which Google loves because it wants to know your site is relevant, that you're staying up to date. And now you've just told your community what's important, what's seasonal, what's going around in your community right there to draw them in for greater and better information. Just another site to show some good CTAs. You can click and link to whatever's important. Lots of ways to do that and to make it clear and concise. And I just wanted to show you another way a website had done that. Then I am going to launch a really quick last poll. If you guys want to hang out with me, I appreciate it. If not, you'll have this recorded. So thank you so much for sticking on with me, and thank you, Doris, for helping me with that poll. Sorry, I'm sharing the wrong one. Here we go. So if you could answer this last question for me, it will help. But does the majority of your medical content stay on your website or link out? So what I was just showing you, most of that is staying on the website. But when you look, does your website only say, hey, go to healthychildren.org? Again, fantastic content, but you're sending them somewhere else? Or does it stay right there on your site? We'll give you guys just a few seconds to answer here, and then we'll look at your answers. Thank you, Doris, for keeping me on track here. You're awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. We just have the 2 questions right now, Rebecca. If people want to drop something in the questions box, they can. But right now we just have the 2. So I wanted to make sure that, this is really valuable information to share as well, and you have time to do it.
Thank you. Hopefully you guys can see the poll results for medical content. 33% said yes, your content stays on your site. I love it. Hopefully you guys are using our content. I think it's really excellent content. 50% are not sure. I want to challenge you. Test your website. Go to the resources you're offering, and do they have to click out of your site to get the answer? Google is looking for people to stay on your website as much as possible, but you don't have to send them somewhere else for a good answer. And 17% are no. I'm going to hide those results. And let's just look. I know I walked through some of the live pages with this. I didn't think I'd have time for that poll, but I'll take you through, again, just a review of the content and why it's important. So those key elements, just to reiterate, medical content, top of the chart here for you guys. You are medical practices, and you really want to give good medical content. If you've put stuff in before and done searches, sometimes some crazy content can come up. And what I like to say, and I truly believe, your parents love you. They trust you. You are, you have authority behind what you say, and what's on your website carries a lot of weight. And so if they have questions on a certain vaccine, is it safe? When should my kiddo have it? What's important? If they find it on your site, it's more trustworthy to them, because it's like their own provider is saying, yes, I put my stamp of approval on this content. Now, we know as practices, the AAP, Dr. Bart Schmidt, CDC, good content, but it's more powerful for your families if it shows up on your site with your reputation behind it. Well child visits, what I just took you through. There are so many times I look at PED sites and they don't even mention well visits. That is the bread and butter of pediatrics. That is where you build relationship. You're going to know these families 18, 30 years, a long time. But those well visits is where you have that consistency of really seeing that child. What does well look like? To have those growth charts, stay on track for vaccines, all of the important things your practice is looking for. And it's important for those families to have those constant touches with you as a pediatric practice, so that when it comes up for flu season or other questions come up, there is a trust factor already built in and relationship built in. We looked at new patients. Again, we have many pages already pre-written how to draw on those who are either having a baby, adopting, maybe they're new to your area, transferring in and want to join your practice, or they're with another practice and things didn't go well and they want to find a new provider. You want to be found with very specific key content. Keywords are on those pages, so as they do a search, you will come up. That's our desire, is that you will shine and that they will see you and be able to choose you as a practice. And the relevance of your content. So when we looked at what's going around a moment ago and we showed you the practice that had 5 current articles, like upper respiratory infection is going around right now, they have flu listed. Those are key things for their community. We have 16 that we've already written. You can add your own at any time as well. You can edit those, but you're telling your community, you're staying up to date, what's important to your community and those that are living there. The alert, a key way to communicate with your audience. Of course, social media is great. You can put key alerts there as well, but if they pull up your site, this happens a lot. We're coming into winter. I live in Colorado, so we can have crazy weather out here, but there are times that you might say, on the alert, our phone lines are down, but our office is still open. Or there might be inclement weather. We have a 2-hour delay due to inclement weather. Please drive safe. If you don't feel safe coming in, please call us. We'll reschedule your appointment. It is a quick way to communicate with your whole audience, and people will pull up your website to check, especially if they know you keep your website updated. For them, that'll be a go-to to check in on the most relevant and new information that you want to put up there. There's also a section we offer on our website called Practice News, Latest News. You can call it whatever you want. But that is a great section for seasonality for pediatrics. That also helps Google to pull people through keyword searches to your site. So like I said, every fall you're going to have a flu clinic. You're going to highlight the flu vaccine, why it's effective, why it's needed. What you can do is when you write these practice news items, you are able to date them. You can date them in the future and say, hey, we want this to start on September 1st and for this to be live through March 1st. So you set a start and an end date for when you want your practice news items to be live. Then you don't have to think about it. And then the next year, change the date. So change the information that's associated on that page. For Peds, think seasonally. Do a marketing calendar. Like I said, things happen. You might talk about Halloween safety and costumes and what is important to remember in October. Maybe every Thanksgiving you're going to talk about how to be grateful as a family dinners and how it's important to come together. So you can pick times throughout the year that you're going to highlight. Going back to school, fantastic time to highlight anxiety in kids. What are the best ways to deal with it? Is there group therapy offered in your community? How to get involved, getting involved in sports so they know kids before school starts. Really some great ideas that you can pass out to your families so they walk into the school year feeling more confident, and their kids do as well. I'll mention some really great posts I've seen at the beginning of the school year have been targeted towards parents. There can be a lot of anxiety there too, and you guys, as a Peds practice, you treat the whole family. And so when you're reaching out and showing mom and dad, grandparents, whoever, guardians are taking care of these kiddos, we see you, we're thinking about you, and we know it can be hard at the beginning of the school year, and here's some tips. So that you can use throughout the practice news. Also, bringing those patients back again and again. You may do meet and greets. You might offer, this has been great, but they'll do like a newborn bistro and say, hey, everyone with kiddos 0 to 3 months, come meet on this night, meet other parents in the same stage of life as you. Have a pediatrician do a quick talk. Offer some, light refreshments, but you've offered a place for community, people in the same stage of life to come together. I've seen Daddy Boot Camp. That's a really fun one for new dads. How do you change a diaper? How do they support their partner with the birth of a new baby? So you can come up with some really fun ideas of how to support similar groups of people going through the same thing and how your providers can speak into their lives. Lastly, for key website elements are those CTAs, those calls to action. What do you want them to do? You have to direct them when they get to your site. what's important to you. And so we give some examples of some important CTAs here. One thing I also want to point out is capturing your audience. If you want to just email or say you want more information, let us know. We do offer an email marketing solution too, where you can send out some campaigns via email, but you can also capture their email addresses so they get into that list. So email can be a great way to reach out to your families, and whether you're sending a newsletter, highlights. But what's great is you can track those analytics. You can see who opened it, when they opened it, where did they click on the email once they opened it. That's called email marketing. So if you have questions about that, again, I didn't deep dive, but we do offer that solution, and it is really inexpensive, which is great. I want to thank you guys for coming. We're going to hit a couple of questions. If Therese, you don't mind hitting me with those. As soon as you close out, there will be a really quick survey. That helps me know, did I hit on key things that were helpful to you? Could I do something better next time? Just like Review Builder, where you guys are getting reviewed, review me. So that will really help. And we have a great page here for some resources.
Okay, Rebecca, we have 3 questions. I hope everybody can stay on. We will absolutely get the recording of the webinar as well as the slide deck out so everybody has access to those resources. The first question is, I really like your medical content. I already have a website that I like. Can I just buy a medical content package from you?
Oh, fantastic question. Absolutely. So we provide medical content for Seattle Children's Hospital, hospitals and practices. A lot of them will use our content. We would love to do that for you. So when it asks at the end in the survey, if you want someone to reach out, just say yes, and we'll get that pricing to you. It is a wonderful thing to do, and we have lots of people that do use just our content.
Wonderful. The next question is, how quickly will SEO start working once I have it all set up? And then the second part of that question is, how do I know if I've picked the right keywords?
Oh, good questions. Yeah. So SEO is, I call it the crock pot of the website. If anyone cooks and likes the crock pot, the longer you leave it in the crock pot, kind of the better it gets, that food gets. Same with SEO. It is a minimum of 6 months. So we are really working slowly, and you're going to see that climb come through. The results where we really see them start picking up is once that's been baking for about 9 months, the 9 to 12 month mark after we've been working on SEO is when we start seeing more stuff. Now, if we're not seeing it move in the right direction, don't give up hope. Meet with your SEO specialist. We may have to, exactly the second part of your question, might have to revisit what were those keywords. Did we target them correctly? Sometimes we're targeting a zip code, or in your area, we need to reevaluate your competition and what they're targeting. So don't be afraid to say, hey, we need to change this up. If you're with us, I know on the local or ultimate level, you can meet with your SEO specialist quarterly. You do get reports more often on the ultimate, but your dashboard's live. You can go into your dashboard 24/7, pull up reports. I didn't show the back end, but you can compare what does this September look like compared to last September and the numbers we had. It'll also show you rankings for each keyword. It'll show you where people are landing on pages, how long are they staying on that page. And that's always very telling, where they're going when they click on your site. And it helps you with social posts. So when you're looking to expand SEO, don't forget about social and paid ads and campaigns. So we do that too. I want to say lay your SEO foundation before you pay for paid search. At least wait, it's good to wait, I think, about 6 months, let that cook a little bit and know how to spend your money effectively. But to know your keywords, I am not a specialist in SEO, but meet with your specialist and they'll help you nail it down more directly so they can look at those results in your G4 Analytics. I hope that answers that question.
Thanks, Rebecca. And actually, we have two more questions because one came in while we were chatting. The next question is, I live in a high density area of pediatricians. What is the best way to stand out?
Oh, fantastic. So know who you are. We see that all the time. Truly, we work within cities where we've built almost every pediatric website in that city, but they still will show up. Like when we do a search, all of our practices we've built are going to show up at the top, but it matters how someone does that search. So for example, I do have a practice that is high Medicaid, about 80%. And so, and they love it. That's what they want. They want to grow that population. So we do targeted SEO to bring in more of that population. So that really works. If your practice specializes and you're like, I really want to highlight ear piercing right now. I have a practice that just started this and they're like, man, this has really been awesome. We're pulling in people that are not our families, not our patients, and they've actually gained new patients because they will do ear piercing on anyone. And then those families have decided, we really love your practice, and they've stayed. So it is finding what are some key things your practice does that you stand out for. I mean, we all do well visits and sick visits, but there are certain things that might be different. Or how is your team run there? Are you all MDs or DOs? Or is it a team where you might have a doctor and a mid-level working as a team? But whatever you want to highlight, like the practice that my kids attend, we are always going to see the same team of providers. Even though it's a large practice, we are building a relationship with that provider. So highlight that, that you guys do that as a practice. And then the SEO landing pages, if you want to be seen, again, talk to your specialist about highlighting the different locations, providers, and specific services. So when someone does that keyword search, your practice, your specific page will come up.
Thank you, Rebecca. And there are still two more questions. They keep coming in. The next question is, if we switch websites to join Remedy Connect, would we still be able to keep our same URL?
Oh, I get that all the time. Yes. So that is your URL. Now, there are some companies that actually purchased your URL. Not a problem. They're not going to hijack it and keep it. 18 years, I've never seen anyone hijack and keep a URL. They will give up. When you're working with your project manager with us, part of the process is they'll see if you own your URL. If you go to a website called Who Is, I will just show you this website because you can actually look this up yourself. You can put in a website URL. So I am just going to take this right here and we'll look it up to show you. So when I put this in, and I'm not going to put all the extra HTTPS or don't put www. We want just the words. Again, it's whois.com. When I search, it's going to tell me who owns it. So if you're wondering, do I own my URL? I'm not sure. This is how you can research. Sometimes it's someone who used to work at the practice. It might have been a practice administrator, 15 years ago that bought it and they're still paying on it. You're going to have to get it back from them. It's just a transfer key. So your project manager on our team will help you. We will research where it's under. This one is found under network solutions. It could be GoDaddy, Enom, Tukos, lots of places sell URLs, but we'll make sure that it gets brought in under your name. And then if you don't currently own it, we'll help you to set up an account. I like GoDaddy. They have excellent customer service, but there's not a wrong answer here. If you already are with Network Solutions or Enom, easily stay with them. But yes, you keep your URL and we just help you transfer it so that the new, called the DNS record, is going to point to the correct website. The other question, I know this wasn't asked, but some people say, well, my contract ends, and what if our website's not up yet? What happens? We can create a splash page for you. We will do that for free. It's a place that holds your URL and domain, your logo, some information about your practice. It's like a one-page info sheet. That'll be a placeholder till your new site can go live, which is really helpful. And I know I talked about custom websites today, and that can take months because we really do put you with a designer. We walk through the process. If you need a site up quickly, we have some pre-designed websites where we will still bring in your branding, your logo, Google font. We'll do a lot for you, but you're not making the design decisions. The main layout will already be done. Those are less expensive and they can be put up in 6 weeks. So if you have a need for a quick website or you're a startup, that is a great option so we can get you live really quick.
Thanks, Rebecca. And this is the last question. It's actually very specific to OP. So the question is, can patient forms be filled out on any website, on the website, and will they link directly to OP? So if they are filling out
That's a great question.
Can they be filled out and then directly link back into OP?
So currently that integration is not in place. Your account manager can let you know the pipeline. I know a lot of those decisions are made right now this time of year of when those are going to come in next year. But if you do a secure form on your website, there's options. If we've built the secure form, it's going to be stored. It is HIPAA compliant on the back end of your website. You would download as a PDF and then have to upload into your EHR. It is a two-step process because you do have to download and upload. It's not automatic. Another option is using a third-party company. There's some good companies out there. Reach out. We can direct you. But again, I think it's the same process. It's not automatically integrated with EHRs, but they would have you fill out the form. You would download and upload those results.
Thanks, Rebecca. That is the last question.
Awesome. Thank you for spending time with me today. Again, I greatly appreciate those of you who were able to stay on. Please fill out the survey. It does help me just to become better at how I present this information. And I would love to meet with any of you with further questions. And have a good one. Happy holidays.